Hello, everybody.
Hello, this is
Enlightened
Enlightened
living.
Living. Alright, so we're having discussions with Aquarius and the Scorpio here. So I saw a video lately or recently. It was a Mr. Astrotheology Santos Bonacci video about, I believe the video is called Sacred Sex and Twin Flames. I will put a link to it below if anyone wants to watch it, but it kind of brought up some interesting discussion points that we can talk about. So, where would you like to start?
Let's start off with the whole doing it in general.
Doing it. What? Okay, so when they talk about sacred sex, so obviously, and you guys can watch the video to get more in depth about it. But I want to talk about, they bring up the whole agenda in the world of being more promiscuous and like free love and sleeping around and being like polyamorous and like even like being more bisexual or gay. Now I will give here's my what do you call it, caveat, no disclaimer. We don't have because you have to say this. You don't have anything against anyone. Obviously, people can do what they want, but we just have to be aware that there is an agenda that I think even we saw this like 3 or 4 years ago. Like there's some kind of something that's in the food or the water or something I don't know, or just in the air that is promoting people to do these things, and you may not. Your being may not be really for this, but it is after you are around or ingest whatever it is that's making you do this. But
You can definitely see that kind of thing. It's like it's highly publicized in the media. Even like when I was at the college campuses and whatnot, it's like it's everywhere. Literally everything, everywhere. And it's like there's nothing wrong with the being a different sexual orientation and all that stuff like that. But it's like you might not actually be that way, but you're being heavily influenced, and people need to kind of just be aware of that, and then actually figure out if you really are, or if it's something that might be pushing you in that direction.
yes, and they bring up in the video how vaccines, antidepressant medications, even media programming, but food, but pretty much it's in everything, and we know this. It's and they just bring up a couple of things, but literally everything that you're put in you or on you or is injected into you could have the potential of changing, like who you are, like who your inner self is, basically, and then you start acting a different way or thinking a different way. But go ahead.
Yeah, because even like when going to a psychiatrist, a lot of times people will get prescribed things, especially for like PTSD patients and whatnot. Like
Or even just like depression or anxiety, really.
yeah, like literally like anything. They'll give you like duloxetine and prazosin. And what these things do is when you actually look up how they react to them, it actually literally changes them after they've been taking it for a while, and they don't go back. And they're like, they don't understand, like, whoa, I used to be kind of anxious and have some issues, but now it's like I have some serious issues, and they don't ever stop. Even though I've stopped taking the medication, it's just like it's changed them.
Yeah, and not for the better usually, you know. And I don't want to make people too scared of, like, if you have been in situations where you've been taking like pharmaceuticals and whatever, you can detox from this stuff.
Yes.
But if you're not aware of what's happened, then you don't know what to do, and then you just kind of go with it, and you become that new person or whatever. But yeah, this and the side effects from some of these medications are like, so it's basically poison that they're giving you, and that's what those drugs, antidepressant drugs or whatever, and like vaccines, and even in the food, you pretty much could say they're pretty much poisoning you. But anyway, so yeah, it's definitely in everything. And what they brought up in their video is that these things literally change you on a DNA level. But we'll get back to that in a minute. And so they talk about the issue with promiscuity or being promiscuous or sleeping around and all that kind of good stuff is you're actually transferring energy, obviously, from one person to the other. So you're transferring DNA and like energy, and like you're taking on what that person is, sort of, if you're not really aware of what you're doing. So you got to be careful. Use protection. Right.
Yeah, it's even more protection than you really think. It's not like, oh, I just use like condoms and stuff. It's like, no, it's like even just being close to somebody can technically change who you are. I mean, you kind of, you are what kind of company you keep. It's like the people you're around, that's the kind of attitude you kind of have. Like if you notice you have different groups of friends, you act and feel different. It's not like you're trying to be fake or you're posing or anything. It's like you actually are different.
And you really see this, especially in what do you call it? Intimate partnerships. If you're not aware of what's going on, like this is what's happening. I guess well, we can make a different video of our own personal experiences with like how this works and how our experiences with it. But yeah, no, you have to be aware of what's going on. And then they bring up too, yeah, you're basically absorbing, even in just the personal space of the person or a different person, or even in a room of people, you can absorb their personal energy or their energy. I think we just said that, didn't we? And they also talk about like, even like, when you go to, we talk about this in our organic food and eating videos, like even things like even going organic, if the food is processed, it probably has something in it that you don't want in your system. Like when they label things like natural flavors or that's usually code word for anything that's natural, quote unquote, right? And any of these things have the potential of getting into your system and changing like your thought process on a cellular level. Because what is the saying is you are what you eat, and that is very, very true, very, very true, right?
Exactly. It's like all these kinds of things, everything affects you. It's like the people you're around, the food you eat, the space you hold, the kind of mindset you have can all be altered with all these things happening. Like sexuality, all these things can be changed. It might not be like a very drastic change or dramatic change very quickly, but subtle changes over a period of time does in fact change you, and you don't really even realize it. And that's what the point is. It's like you just look in the mirror and you're like, you might not even recognize yourself after a while because it's been a slow change, and you're like, oh, I'm way different than I was like a year or two ago. What happened? But just be kind of mindful of these things.
Yes, and if you don't want this to happen to you, then don't eat gross stuff. And stay away from gross people, I'm saying. Alright, so they bring up the idea of the sacred partnership in this video, which is interesting because a lot of people, I guess people are moving more toward this new age free love thing again, or they're trying to, I guess, or they're wanting to, like, it's supposed to be powerful to like sleep around, especially if you're like a lady, it seems like, to like sleep around and like be a whole bag man. But they bring up like the power that's in actually having that sacred union of two people that come together, and it's not just it's the energy they create in their like bond, that creates like a protective field around their space, and even more so, and it maybe even spreads to others. But it's very powerful energy that's created there that I don't think people are like really aware of that potential. They talk about the sacred family unit, which I don't know, it's interesting.
It's definitely, you kind of sense it, like when there's a couple that might not even know that there's like a sacred space they're creating, but like just how they act and interact. It's like when they make it only about them, you notice that their family for the most part is really well taken care of, and like they actually have like almost like a barrier around them that protects them. And then you see the people that have like, they just like jump partners or whatever, there's kids and stuff like that. There's always seems to be some sort of drama, or like there's something always happening.
Fractures in the
Yeah, it's like because there's, yeah, exactly, like fractures or like cracks in their barrier, so things can get in, and things you might not want to get in. And it's they're trying to like break down the family unit to become.
Family unit's already been broken down.
Well, yeah, it's already been broken down, but they're trying to like literally like, obliterate it. They're trying to make it so it's like you don't have to be in anything like that, and which also it's like if you're single or whatever, that's okay. Also, there's nothing wrong with that, but they're really
there's nothing wrong with it, and if that's what you really want, if you understand like the possible complications or repercussions, I should say, like as far as energy transfer and sharing other people's energy field and whatnot, if you're okay with that, then, and they're okay with that, I guess, then that's what you really want, then I guess do that. But most people, the problem here is that most people are not really aware of what they're doing when they're just like doing these activities and stuff.
That's very true. And a lot of the times it's like it's heavily influenced, and that's why it's like they almost like they're trying to promote like this whole like party scene, even for young people to older people. Like, just do what you want to do, what makes you feel good, and that's what's the right thing to do, just because it feels good. And that's not really the way to go about it. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's always good. Because like everyone knows, like if you just drink a ton of alcohol or whatever, you might feel pretty good, but then you're not going to be feeling pretty good afterwards, right? But definitely like try to really understand what you're doing.
And then they bring up in their video like the when you do like embark on a sacred union, you have to line up with someone who is at the same or relatively the same like conscious level of consciousness that you are, because that's a big deal too. Like if you are, matching up with someone who's either far, on a different level, I guess. I don't know how you want to, a different spectrum. That could create issues, and like if you're wanting to go one direction and they're headed in another direction, and it's not. I think I'm just talking in circles here. Maybe you can explain.
Alright, so it's like if someone's trying to like reach a more enlightened state, another person is kind of just okay with just being a normal person, or like very dense, or like following whatever media trends are happening. There's going to be conflict because you're trying to go up and they're trying to stay the same or go down, and then their density, because like that's what it's like a very physical, very dense, very material world that they live in, and you're trying to like free yourself of things, which means you're going to become lighter. Everything is becoming lighter, but it's like, but yeah, now you have an anchor pulling you back down. But if you have someone that's kind of like trying to free themselves also, they become lighter, and you actually can work together and become even lighter than that. You can actually reach a higher peak because you're working together. But like if you do have someone that's obviously trying to go in the other direction, a lot of conflict, and they're going to continue to pull you down unless you.
Or you go nowhere because you're both being pulled in different directions.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right. But yeah, that's just something to think about. Like don't just think with your your pants. Don't think of your pants. Use your heart space and like your head space when you're picking partner. If you want to pick a life partner, if you don't, then of course you don't have to do that. But yeah, just be aware and mindful. Do of course what you feel like deep down. What you feel like you should be doing, but don't do it just because other people are doing well, obviously, right? Don't follow the crowd, just do your own thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's like that's the thing that they do. It's like they literally everywhere you look, it's like just do whatever you want to do. They even when you think about simple signs, like, oh, look at this, you can get these kind of different drugs or different testing to see if you're HIV positive, which is like, what is that actually really saying? It's those signs are actually being like, hey, you know what, we can screen you, and now you can go have sex with everybody, and it doesn't really matter. You're gonna be good, right? It's like, but they're out there all over the place. It's like they're promoting it everywhere, even if it's like something that's kind of up against it. They're actually promoting it for you.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's unless you have something else to add to that. And I'll put the video link so people can watch this video. But it's just interesting to think about. It's like, because when you listen to this stuff, you realize that, well, of course, people, I don't know, I feel like everything's common knowledge, but it's not. So I just want to make sure that people are aware of what is going on in their world and can make choices based on sort of their highest perspective or highest consciousness, if that's what they want to do, grow and expand. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, common sense isn't very common, but I don't know where that saying comes from. Yeah, I need to probably look into it. That pretty much wraps it up. Anything you'd like to finish it up with?
Nope, that is all.
All right, everybody.